Hello everyone, how are you all? I can imagine COVID-19 has impacted every sector of our lives and it has not spared your and my lives. Contemplating this heart-wrenching situation, I want you all to feel that we are all together in this. My research fraternity is always in my thoughts, and so I have come up with this small initiative for all my aspiring researchers. It's a learning curve. This is a short series in which I have some wonderful, energetic, and accomplished young friends who are volunteering to share their experiences and guide you through some tips on professional networking, publishing, job search, academic and industrial experiences, preparing resume and CVs, and entrepreneurship. I'm glad to welcome our guest for today's segment, Dr. Rao, who is a very close friend and a very accomplished scientist in the field of mechanical engineering. And he is going to give us some guidance on professional networking today. So I put the ball in his court by still owning the room on Zoom. So Dr. Rao, could you please go ahead by introducing yourself?
Sure, thank you, Dr. Kotbagi. Hello, and this is Harish. I'm currently an Associate Research Engineer with Alabama Transportation Institute at University of Alabama, Tuscaloosa. I have a bachelor's in mechanical engineering from VTU, Belgaum. I have a master's in mechanical engineering from Tuskegee University and a PhD in mechanical engineering from University of Alabama, Tuscaloosa. I have lived in the US, of course, in India, and also have lived in Canada. I worked for two national labs, one in the US and one in Canada. Worked as an intern for a well-known Japanese automotive company, and now I'm working as a research engineer. So I'm excited, and I'm actually looking forward to share some of my experiences and also, I can say, guidance, my stories with people out there. Maybe it'll benefit them. I know this is a very strange time. This is my second kind of a recession I'm going through. The first one was, of course, in 2009, and this is my second one. So I can say that I have quite a lot of experience in going through the recession and still keeping your job. So thank you, Trupti, for the opportunity. I think let's roll.
Thank you very much for your introduction, and it's indeed going to be a lot of guidance for everybody like us with your experience and the way you mentioned you have seen two recessions, unlike many of us. It's going to be a lot of tips for how to stay strong and look ahead for a brighter path, although in these hard times. Sure. So firstly, I would like to ask you, what made you choose this career? What brought you from India to America, or why did you want to do a postdoctoral fellowship and then again start a job? What made you choose this career?
Well, I graduated in 2006 after my bachelor's. I had a job. So I was placed on an on-campus interview at a company called St. Gobain in Bangalore, but I didn't work for more than a month. So even without taking my first paycheck, I quit my job, and I never even had thought of moving to US. It was only at the end last semester, I think, that's what motivated me to get into research than regular engineering jobs. And the reason I attribute this to my small stint as a research assistant at Indian Institute of Science, where I worked with my late professor, C.R.L. Murthy, from aeronautical department. He was the one who motivated me into research, and that's when I got into research and said, like, this is going to be my field. I was not comfortable working as a graduate trainee engineer, and I just felt that this was not my job, and that's when I quit. And thankfully, I had a opportunity to come to US and pursue masters and work in composites, which I was working on before. So that's how I came to US, and that's how I got my master's. But unfortunately, even after my master's, I couldn't find a job because of the market recession. There were opportunities probably to get into IT, but that was not my idea. So I continued working as a research assistant at Tuskegee University with my professor, Dr. Mahesh Osu, at Tuskegee Center for Advanced Materials. So I continued working on composites, and then finally I applied for PhD about 2 years down the line, and then I got into PhD at the University of Alabama, and I still continue working on it. I have to say that I have had opportunities where I could have moved away from research. Post my PhD, there were job opportunities, but somewhere I felt that when I wake up every day, I should be happy to go to work and say that, this is what I want to do, and not, feel bad about going to work. So I think that's what made me still work in research. So for me, pay was not important. For me, work was more important, and feeling satisfied at the end of the day that I did something that I like. So that's the reason I'm still in research. I kind of like to know why and why not.
That's indeed a great message. At the end of the day, what matters is job satisfaction, the happiness when you try to explore things and try to know what's happening is what matters, the happiness and the joy you get out of that.
Yes.
Yeah. So all through your career, you might have come across a lot of commendable people who are in your network, in your professional network. So how has professional networking helped you get to the point where you are today?
Professional networking not just means that you know the people who you're working with, but also you can network. Compared to about a decade or back, when we were very fresh out of undergraduate, our professional networking was somebody only to somebody physically who we knew. Maybe a professor, or maybe a friend, or maybe a cousin or family member. But now with the advancement in technology and social media, like LinkedIn is a great place where you can actually look for people, and you can add them, though you might have not worked with them, you might not know them personally. But LinkedIn is a great place to network, professional network. Just don't send requests to everyone, and then let them know about, let it not be just a cold addition. Say, okay, I just want to add you onto my network. Write them a small note. Why do you want to, connect with them on LinkedIn? See that you have something in common. That's how you can grow your network. And when you go to a conference, you meet people, people from your own field. You might have referred their papers. You might have come across their work somehow. You might have read their books, or you might not have come across them before, but you might sit through their talk, and then you're interested. You may be a PhD student or a master student. It's always a great place, especially the conferences, to go and just meet them, say hi, hello, because physically you're meeting them. And that's the other way of extending your network. And be on if you do your job well, there's always people are going to recognize you in one way or the other.
Right, right. So has it ever come to your experience that these networks or these contacts you made going to conferences or networking has helped you get achieve your career goals or get a better position?
Yes. So going to conferences, I have met several people. One of the reason I moved to Canada was also that I had met my, my mentor in Canada, where I was working in a national lab. I'd met him at not at a conference exactly, but we used to have the funding agency meeting every year. So I have met him there before. So he knew me, he knew my work, and it was easy for me to convey to him that I'm interested, and he knew what was my expertise, and it becomes just that much easier to get even at least an interview call. I have had contacts on LinkedIn. I've got interview calls where I have added some people like hiring managers or managers of that particular research group. I could get the resume across to them directly, bypassing the HR and the automated places where the resume is kind of scrutinized. So networking kind of helps in that way, that you are bypassing so many different steps and getting your resume to the right person. And I think that's where networking comes into picture. So yes, I have got interviews. I have got people who have asked me on ResearchGate if they could collaborate with me, or I could collaborate with them on certain work on LinkedIn. So it's just that you have to keep an eye open for where the opportunities are. So social networking is a great place. When you go to conferences, it's a great place. Yes, I have benefited tremendously from all these over the years.
Right. That's excellent. That really shows a ray of hope that networking really helps.
Yes.
It definitely helps. But at the same time, now when you're going to a conference and you know that some XYZ person from my field, a big shot, is coming, presenting, or going to chair a session, is it good to do some homework or about the background of the person you want to talk to? Or let me ask you this way: how to strike a conversation that will seem very impressive for that person who is listening to me, and that will create interest in his mind about me, or at least we can leave a small trace of a print of us in his mind. So what would be?
First thing I want to say is that there's a saying that if you don't ask, the answer is always a no. So a lot of people are afraid of the answer no. So the answer is always a no if you don't ask. So if you don't approach, out of fear that there would be a no, yes, it'll be a no because you never asked. But most of the times there may be yes too, or there may be like probably, we'll look into it. But just don't be afraid of what the outcome is. The most important thing is to put your best foot forward. And that's by doing some homework, as you said. It's like, you may be a professor who at a big university, or maybe a scientist at a national lab, or even at an industry where you're interested to work. Make sure that you have some kind of common thing. I mean, we know that, probably that he works in or she works in your field, and you want to work with them. Just don't be very cold, like, saying, hey, I'm looking for a job. It's not going to work like that. So it's more that you have to do a homework in the sense, like, get to know about their, if it's an industry, get to know about their product. You can talk to them about, like, oh, I like this product, or, this is what I really like about your company. You're doing a great job. I'm in this field. I'm also exploring to try doing something, maybe a product that the company is working on or the person is working with. Give them a background, let them know that you're interested. And then, add them on LinkedIn, or send them a thank you email, exchange your business cards if you have, or just take their business cards, send them an email. You might not get a reply for your thank you email saying that, you met and it was great to talk to them. But just that, that person might come to your rescue at some other point of time. You never know, because I got an interview call. I met an HR representative at a conference in TMS in 2012, and I had a great talk with him about, my research, my interest, what the company was going through. It was an aluminum company, and they were setting up in Atlanta back then. And in 2014, after 2 years, I got a call from him saying that they had a full-time position, and he remembered me, and he contacted me, and I had we had exchange of business cards. So you never know when they're going to give you a call. So always, have something common. So when you approach somebody, just don't approach, as like, I need a job kind of a thing. approach as that you're really interested, and just have a very cordial talk with them. Most of the people who come to the conferences, it's known, professors or people who come there, that there will be a chance for you to, for collaborations, to meeting somebody. There'll be sessions where you just go out there, have a drink, or dinner together, or lunch together. Ask your professor, if you're a PhD student or a master student, to get introduced to other people, and that helps a lot. If you're doing your poster presentations, most of the time, people might walk to introduce them about what your work is. So if it's of interest to them, they're going to give you a call, or they're going to be in touch with you.
Right, right. So this is usually what happens. It's not at the end of your PhD or your graduation. We want to start networking or start collecting contacts, but I guess what you mean is we want to start doing that right from the beginning of your studies.
Yes.
Yeah. So that it will be even helpful down the lane when they want to really look for jobs. So when you go and talk to them, you don't want to really look needy, but send them a courtesy email or a courtesy message saying it was wonderful meeting you, and we will keep in touch, or I will keep you posted, something like that.
Sure. I mean, your networking doesn't start like, you shouldn't start adding people or networking when you're about to graduate, 6 months before you graduate.
Right.
It should be through your life. You start your PhD or a master's today, you should know people who are in your field, where you want to work. Follow those companies, follow them on social media, get to know what they are. Most of the time I have seen is that these managers, sometimes they post a job opportunity or PhD opportunities, if it's a professor, on LinkedIn, and say, hey, I need some people to work with me. We have this particular position. So it's always good that you start way early. I mean, you might not be looking for your PhD positions. Let's say a full-time job opportunities you are doing your graduate studies, and in between, you might even go and work there as an intern.
Right.
Or an internship or summer internship or anything. Even otherwise, you need people in your field. You need to know who you're working with, who your colleagues are. So networking should be throughout. And I do remember when the last recession happened in 2008 and 9, the Career Care Center at Tuskegee University, the lady who looks after that, she told me one thing is that you really have to market yourself. That's when you get a job. So have a great resume. When somebody looks at it, they should know, okay, you have the potential. Talk to them, be very confident. Again, don't look very needy. Shake hands, exchange your cards. If you have a resume in hand, give them, and you can let them know that you're interested and you're looking for opportunities. And if they have, for sure, they'll come, and they probably want to approach you if everything matches. So networking should be something that should be done throughout, even after you get a job. Keep networking; it helps you a lot.
That's correct. That means keep aside your shyness. Don't be very needy, but also don't be very overconfident, and follow up with the contacts.
Yeah. So, maybe at certain point in your life, you want to change your position, or you want to move to a better opportunity, or you're not really looking for a job, but somebody who you network with has identified, or your work has been identified by them, and they want to invite you, and they say like, okay, why don't you come and work with us? So that's why I said, like, networking, going to a conference, even if it may be a poster presentation, the smaller places also good. It's a great place to know, and to know what others are working in, what's happening in your field, and also to just expand your network.
Right. So there are cases when a student has still time to graduate, but he starts increasing his network early on his studies, early on his course, and he keeps in touch with those people. But at some point, it might get irritating to the person at the other end, and he might just turn out to be unresponsive. So, are there any limitations or constraints the student should follow before it starts getting irritating to that person, and he will not he will not pay any heed to your messages or emails, or lose interest in what you're doing? So
Um, it's a good question. I mean, some people have great patience. You can send them emails and they reply back to you. Um, I can give you an example where when I was in Canada, I was looking for a postdoc position in a particular field, very concentrated field in material science and engineering. And he's really a great professor, great scientist, very well known. I had sent him an email, so he was very kind enough to reply back to me. We were connections on LinkedIn. I was following his work on ResearchGate. So when I wrote an email to him and said like, this is what my interest is, and he didn't have a position or anything, and I said like, I'm looking for job opportunities, and I would like to work with you. If there's any opportunities in the future, he would say that okay, send me an email next month. There might be a position open, or I might have something more. So it happened for almost 5 or 6 months. He replied back to me my emails every month. And then, of course, I got another opportunity, and I actually sent him an email and said, like, I've got another opportunity. I really thank you for, following up with me and replying to my messages all through. There may be some people who you send an email, very cordial email, and they might not even reply back to you, but I don't feel bad about it. And again, at the same time, even if they reply, don't send them emails every week or so. Don't look that you're very desperate. Just understand that most of these, let's say it's a manager or a professor or anybody, a scientist, they all have other jobs to do, and they keep doing their job. Send them a very, very short email about if you had an interview, what's the position? That if they have any updates, it shouldn't be like I'm just waiting and waiting. If they don't respond, just don't try to do it again and again. That's when it might get like too much and say like, okay, I don't want to. Just don't look desperate. Maybe every 2 weeks may be good, or maybe a month.
Yeah.
That's
Being patient is the mantra.
Yeah. So it happens. I mean, sometimes.
Yeah, because I can imagine these people might have so many people like us messaging them every day. So
yes,
they cannot keep up with
there'll
all
be
these.
hundreds of people who, and it won't be probably hiring is an important thing for them, filling up the position, but it's not the ultimate for them. They have other things going on. So if it's a professor, you're looking for a PhD position. They have other students who they are already, mentoring. They're writing proposals. They have classes and everything. So you have to know that, they are probably going to respond to you in their free time. So those things are something that you need to keep in consideration, and just don't be so desperate. Sending them email every day or every week also may not be that good on you for a long term. So it's again individual thing. So
Yeah, that's a very important message to remember. Yeah. Don't bug them.
Yeah.
So before we want to take off, now that you have mentioned how strongly you have stayed through these 2 recessions in a decade, what would be the take-home message for all our aspiring scientists and researchers, maybe for academic positions or industrial positions? What would be your take-home message for them during this type of recession, this strange times?
When I came to this country, when I left India and came over, I never thought about recession. I never had an idea about recession because I was 23 and I had never earned myself anything. So I was taken care well by my parents, I guess. But when the reality hits that, you have to look for a job now, you have to be on your own. And when the recession comes through, it's a bad one. And I can say that because I had about 6 interviews in 2008. And there were companies who were really interested to hire me. This was all in November 2008 and December 2008. And by January and February of 2009, people who interviewed me had lost their jobs.
Wow.
So, it happens. The people who interviewed you, who were really interested to hire you, they may be HRs or they may be project managers. The teams had been consolidated. Non-essential people would be let off, and things happen. So at those times, if you have a chance, stay back in school, get through the recession, be strong. And when when the market becomes normal again, when the hiring starts again, you're going to get opportunities because look at those companies. They have not hired because of the financial reason, mostly for both a year or 2 years, and now they have vacancies and they have to fill up because they have to do something. They have to fill the people. They need people. So you're going to get opportunities. If you stay there and wait for it, there's always light at the end of the tunnel. And don't be afraid to move anywhere. Even if you have to move to another country, be very open to it, and you will learn a lot. It may be not just during the recession, but even during the regular times when you're looking for a job. If you get an opportunity somewhere else, you might not want to go there because you feel very comfortable staying in the country where you're right now. But going there always might help you in the long run. You might learn something new. Always choose a position where you learn. The learning should never stop. When the learning never stops, you're going to grow. So don't be afraid to learn. Don't be afraid to say, I don't know. Don't never say that I know this. Don't ever think, even if you know, there's something you always don't know. Your superiors is always going to help you out. There's always something you learn every day. And I have learned a lot working with different people. And I've always been open to ideas of learning. So even at the time of recession, if you don't have a job, learn something that will add a lot to your resume and to your personality. Maybe improve your writing skills, maybe develop a new hobby. Empty mind is a devil's workshop. So just don't be empty. Don't think bad. Just keep yourself busy and be very positive. I think those are the two things I would like to say. A few things I would like to say after going through a second recession right now. And the first one is I was positive and I was learning and I always looked forward for the new opportunities. And I have survived. And I'm pretty sure everybody's going to.
That's a very wonderful message. I think that was the most favorite part of the entire segment I just discussed with you. Yeah, there are always going to be peaks and valleys. So stay positive, keep learning, stay sane, and be optimistic for the future coming up for you. It's always brighter on the other side.
Yes.
Yeah. So with all this, I would like to thank you a lot for your precious time, Dr. Rao. And we would definitely want you to keep guiding us like this in the future. And all the viewers and audiences, if you want to have any more information or if you want to have any more interactive sessions, we can organize that depending on what number of people want to have an interactive session with Dr. Rao and myself. And please comment in the section below if you have any specific questions regarding your field or regarding social networking, and we will make sure to reply to you. Still then, But till then, stay home, stay safe, stay strong, and always remember it's a learning curve. Thank you very much.
Thank you.